I don't think anyone likes working in hospitality. Like, you do meet some people when you go into like a Starbucks or something, and you walk in, you're like, hi, and they're like, oh my god, hi, how are you? Would you like to try our seasonal blend? And you're just like, no, I just want some coffee. Why are you so excited? It's 6 o'clock in the morning. What is wrong with you? Like, that is because their brain has broken. Like, they all hope in their life has shattered. Like, they tried a different career, they tried multiple different careers. Times are tough, they're going to take any job, and it is horrible working in hospitality. I don't like dealing with customers in the slightest. Like, I worked in like coffee shops and all this other stuff, and the one thing that really irks me is whenever someone comes up to the cake fridge and they're gawking at it like they're at the zoo. It's like, God, it's cake. You're not going to see like a lion in there or something. And then they come up and they're just like, maybe I'll treat myself. No, I did say no to a muffin the other day. I'm like, why are you talking to a muffin, you weirdo? And why are you talking about it like it's some sort of weird sexual thing? Oh, no, muffin, I can't. My digestive system says yes, but my heart says no. Jesus. And then they're complaining, oh, I've got loads of aches and pains and loads of illnesses. And I'm just like, maybe it's the amount of sugar you're having all the time. But yeah, pretty much everyone hates working in hospitality. And not only the customers bad, the bosses are quite bad too. Like, the thing of customers is they can be quite charming. Like, for example, whilst I was working as a barista one time, I also worked as a receptionist at a sperm bank, and I had regulars at both, including one guy who showed up at both and he brought his own cup. So, that guy's just living life. But when you're dealing with like a lot of different corporations that serve coffee, you are dealing with some really stuck up higher corporate types. And you're just like, oh my God, leave me alone. This job is already hard enough. Just like, I'm just trying to mind my business and you're like getting in my case. Like, one time when I was like doing a cake fridge, I had like one of the higher ups come up to me, look at the cake fridge. By the way, the same it's always been for like 4 years. And he was like, do you not have any differently shaped cakes? And I'm just like, bruh, it's like carrot cake. What do you want? It's simple. You put it in your mouth, you chew it, and you feel bad about yourself for eating like crap afterwards. Oh, here's your carrot cake, but do you want it as a pentagon? That would be really lovely, wouldn't it? And I just think that it's just one of those things that people set out to just mess with you. Anyway, so this is one particular story that, like, when things got really bad, I had just moved to the great UK city of Bristol, and I only moved because I wanted to pursue my dreams of becoming a massive successful stand-up comedian. There I am, a clip of me doing a comedy. Well done. So, I eventually realized, wow, if I really wanted to travel and book hotels and go out of town and like pay for like drinks and stuff while doing comedy, and also pay for things like my rent and stuff, I need to actually a job because this stuff is not going to pay immediately. So eventually I scoured through Indeed and all the job ads, and I eventually ended up taking a job working in a museum cafe as the manager. I do not know how that happened, but whatever, the pay was really good. And I tell you, my first day, I genuinely wanted to quit. It was the most disorganized mess in the world. It was just awful. And to be perfectly honest, like, maybe it was one of those things of just being anxious, but then I thought, no, I'll give it a second chance the next day. Nope, wanted to quit the next day too. And I thought, no, do you know what? I'll give it a week. Wanted to quit the next week too. It was stress-inducing. And it wasn't even the fundamentals of the customers, because you weren't going to get weird regulars at a museum unless there's some guy who just does not have a life. No, trust me, it was the higher-ups. It is the boss. It is like penny pinching to the bone. It's like that bit in The Simpsons when Homer pinches a penny and it goes into his skin. Yeah, it's kind of like that, but like a million pennies. It was the amount of guff I always had to put up with, and I hated it. So there was one day where I was kind of minding my own business, and I had another guy with me who was from a different department from the overall company that ran this cafe. And he just decides, hey, do you know what? I'm going to go for my break. Is that all right? And I was like, yeah, sure, that's fine. And, he steps outside and it's all cheery, it's all a bit dead, it's all good, everything's good until, whoa, the doom clouds come about and the big radio comes in and he is going mental, being like, what is going on? Where is the waiter? And I'm just like, well, first of all, he's a barista, not a waiter. He's not like in a bow tie serving people hors d'oeuvres. And it's his break. Why is he sitting in his car on his break? Oh, this doesn't look good. And I was like, man, you are shouting in front of my customers, man. Oh my God. It was stuff like that on a daily basis. And eventually I just had enough of guff from that, like doing my jobs. Like when I first started that place, the TripAdvisor reviews were awful, and then I took over and it was amazing, but you just don't get any thanks for these things, really. So eventually I ended up leaving, and I was very, very salty. I've wasted about a couple of months of my life, and also just getting yelled at all the time, because that's about it. But I know that's mostly hospitality, but I'm quite stubborn as well, and I just don't like taking things lying down. Also, I was a middling stand-up comedian, and so my ego was higher than the skyscrapers. So eventually, I go about my business and I meet someone else who used to work for the same place, and they were like, oh my God, you've got to hear this. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna boil the kettle because I'm in for some tea, because I love a gossip. And they were like, you've got to hear this. Basically, they ran a massive event and it went so horribly wrong. Their TripAdvisor reviews are awful. And I was like, oh my God. And so I went on the internet, read all the TripAdvisor reviews, and I was like, this is gold. And I just couldn't help but have a giggle. That's all I did was laugh. Because the amount of stuff I was put through, the amount of stuff they put other people through. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna rub salt in the wound, because here's the thing, I'm not spiteful, I'm just petty. So eventually I was very trying to sit there thinking of what revenge I would have, and eventually I went down a YouTube rabbit hole, and I eventually got sidetracked, and I ended up listening to a guy called Jim Cornette, who was a wrestling promoter, and he told a story about his old boss in WCW getting a really, really bad critic review after they drew like no one for a massive arena show. So what Jim did was he sent the guy a funeral wreath, and I was like, yes! That's perfect. So eventually I went down into like the rabbit hole of Googling for florists, and I was like, oh, there's people who do funeral wreaths. Let's just say that when you're on the phone to a florist trying to get something specific because they won't let you email it in, you have to do a lot of explaining. Like the girl on the phone was just a bit like, this is weird. Why are you sending a funeral wreath to a company and not naming it? It's like, no, it's fine. I know how funeral wreaths work. I've had a lot of people die on me in my life, which didn't really sound. So I went for the next funeral wreath service down that I could find. So I gave up on that and I went for the next florist I could find, and they were a bit more cooperative because I was a bit more forefront. I was like, look, I'm trying to get revenge on this little company I used to work for, and the florist was like, wait, what company was this? So I told them the name of the company, and they were like, oh, I work for them too. They're assholes. Here, have a discount. And I was like, oh, that's perfect. So eventually, I sent them a funeral wreath with a card that just read, condolences. Nothing new about that. And, that's the story of the time I sent a funeral wreath to my ex-boss.